In this video, I'm going to go over 5 marketing trends that I'm personally seeing in the marketing and tech industry. And these aren't just some trends that I've searched around online for or I've seen people talking about on LinkedIn or X. Actually, 6 weeks ago, I went to San Francisco specifically just to farm information to understand what was happening in tech, what was happening in marketing, and to get kind of a finger on the pulse of basically how our industry is moving, and for us marketers, what we can do about it and how we should prepare for the next 2 to 3 years of marketing within the tech industry. And so if you go in the link in the description, I wrote a blog post about the top marketing trends and predictions I'm seeing. This video is going to go over 5 core trends that I think are like really important. And then the blog post has a few additional ones that I'm kind of thinking through that are more like predictions. But in this video, I want to go over the 5 trends. So the number one trend that I'm seeing is specialists over generalists. AI is leveling the playing field for everybody to be a generalist. You know, a few years ago, being a marketing generalist or like a Swiss Army knife was seen as pretty valuable. You can wear a lot of hats, you can do a little bit of everything, especially when you're working at startups and you're maybe the only marketer or you have a really small marketing team. It's important for everybody to be able to do a little bit of everything. It was impressive. Now with AI, anybody can be a generalist. There's really no competitive advantage as somebody in your career to know a little bit of everything. AI can teach someone who's not a marketer a little bit about everything in marketing. You just open up Claude and ask it, what are the SEO best practices? How do I write a proper story? Should I structure my LinkedIn articles? You know, being a generalist is not as valuable anymore. And when I say being a specialist in something is a lot more valuable moving forward than being just a marketing generalist, what does that mean? Like in the past, if you've read my newsletter, I've talked about how getting really good at one skill in marketing, and specifically getting really good at one distribution channel, be it, you know, running ads through Google or running ads on Facebook or Instagram, or doing SEO, or creating long form videos on YouTube, getting really good at understanding one distribution channel and the creative and the message that goes onto that medium. That is really important for a marketer to be good at one of those things. And that's what I think it means to be a specialist. It's to specialize into one specific message and one specific medium that message goes on to. But it still kind of sounds woo-woo. Like, yeah, I get it. You got to be really good at one thing. I got to get really good at SEO, or I got to get really good at performance marketing, or I got to get really good at understanding growth and retention and monetization and all that kind of stuff. But how do you actually do that? And I've wrestled with this kind of concept of how does somebody become a specialist? What actually separates somebody from a specialist to a generalist? And the thing that I've come to realize over time is that specialist is somebody that has the gift of pattern recognition. And that pattern recognition is built through reps. So that's basically what a specialist is compared to a generalist. Generalists don't have the best pattern recognition because they're constantly spread thin over multiple different disciplines. There is no focus. There's a lack of focus across different disciplines, a little bit of hand in each one. And when you have your hands in a bunch of different things, you never really deeply, fully understand the nuances within each discipline. And the only way you realize that or understand that and build that into deep intuition is through the reps. And so it's all about pattern recognition. Like I would consider myself a specialist in SEO, and I've been doing it for 10 years now. And I've written well over 1,000 blog posts. I've published well over 1,000 blog posts. I've analyzed in analytics every day throughout, the past 10 years, well over 1,000 pages, thousands of pages. I've seen the pattern recognition. I've trialed, tested different angles, that went after different keywords, worked in different industries, and I've built this pattern recognition. Same way as somebody like, Mr. Beast that is really good at YouTube and the most subscribed YouTuber. Well, he's gone through and put in the reps of constantly uploading videos, looking at his analytics, seeing where retention drops off, and tweaking things and building that pattern recognition over time. So that's really what I think is the number one trend that I'm seeing. And this kind of sets the foundation for a lot of the other trends I'm about to talk about. Because if you are a specialist or you aim to become a specialist in the next year or two at something, it's how you're going to win in this AI world. Which kind of brings us nicely into the second trend, is that marketers are becoming builders. Nowadays, we have tools that we didn't have 5 years ago. We have Cursor, we have Claude Code, we have Lovable, we have V0 from Vercel, we have Tempo Labs, we have Gumloop. We have all these different tools that enable us to create automated workflows, which can argue have existed, but now with LLMs and AI capabilities, we have tools that can help us create AI agents. We have tools that can help us code prototypes and internal tools and calculators. If you're an SEO and you create these calculator landing pages, like you can create those with Claude Code. Basically what I'm seeing happen, and I noticed this a lot when I went to San Francisco last month and just went and sat inside of startup offices and just saw how marketing teams were operating, is that marketers are becoming more technical. Saying that you're a non-technical person is no longer a good excuse, because you can literally use natural language to code. And so it's making it easier for marketers to become technical. But this kind of feeds back into the first trend of specialists over generalists. This trend actually benefits all marketers and everybody, sure, but I think it benefits the specialists the most, because the specialist knows the workflows very deeply. They know the nuances, they know the pain points, they know the exact jobs to be done. And so they can build niche tools to help themselves be more productive. I see this in my own work. Like, I work with clients through my freelance SEO business. I run this media company. I consult with companies I consult with software companies on SEO. And I've taken all of my knowledge and put them into Claude skills, and I put that into like Claude projects for every client that I work with. And so I have like all my workflows, things that I used to do manually that were repetitive. I now can fire up Claude, and it already has all the context of everything I want to do. And I made a video kind of about this, my last video. If you want to check it out somewhere up here, it'll come up on how I've been kind of a sneak peek of how I've been doing that for SEO. But I don't want to get too off topic there. Basically, the idea here is that you can use a lot of things like Claude skills to speed up workflows and build specific AI agents with tools like Gumloop or N8N to build these like agents that can go out and complete these jobs to be done. But again, this is only, an AI in general is only as useful as the person who's using the tool. So bad inputs into AI equals bad outputs. You prompt it bad, you get bad stuff. You prompt it good, you give it good context, you get good stuff. And so I think the proper use of AI is kind of, there's this part of having good data. So giving the AI really good data. I can give it in the context of SEO. If I export my Google Search Console keywords into Claude, that's good data. It's real first-party data. And then there's guardrails. So these are something like the skills where, it's not enough to tell ChatGPT or Claude, you are an SEO expert, figure stuff out. You have to explain what an SEO expert is. You have to explain how they think and all the nuances. And this is why the specialist kind of comes back into play. And so good data plus those guardrails. And then when you prompt it, you get good outputs. And so that's the proper use that I'm seeing companies really using. And the thing I really realized when I was in San Francisco was that we are not in an AI bubble. That's just my observation. It's not a fact or anything. It's just I've noticed that we're not as much of an AI bubble. If you look on YouTube or online about people saying that we are, I think being actually in the trenches and watching companies, how they use AI, it's pretty evident that they're using it in very creative ways. And really it's these specialist roles that are getting paid a lot of money. Some like SEO lead positions at pretty mid-sized companies are getting paid over $200,000 a year. So specialists, I think, that can build are going to be the ones that have the most job security, at least in the next couple of years. So going into the third trend that I'm seeing is that SEO is favoring the human, and the who and the why matters the most. So what I'm seeing is that SEO is actually making a comeback to old school blogging days, where people actually had creators or writers that they liked and they seeked out and they kept up with their blogs. If you kind of have that mindset, but then you understand SEO best practices and you fuse those together, you fuse the personality, the copywriting, the storytelling, all that with the SEO best practices, and you put those together, those are the companies and websites that are winning right now. And so I'm seeing this trend that a lot of actually Substack and Medium and personal blogs are ranking really high. For example, if you look up the term writing platforms, there's a lot of interesting stuff coming up, some from companies, and a lot of it is actually personal blogs. So there's Reddit, of course. Reddit has been crushing in SEO, but there's a Medium article here. You can see the first one is actually a Substack article. So these first person, like, I tried 8 writing platforms, which is best? This is literally a newsletter. And as you can see, it goes through and it's very much human first person. This person says, at Christmas, I often do a special and blah, 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 blah. It goes through. It's very human. Same thing with other keywords like this one, Cursor versus Claude Code. Like Reddit's coming up first, but the second one is like a personal blog where it's somebody's in first person. I've been using AI coding tools since GitHub Copilot launched, and they go on and it's an actual real human behind it. This person, Kyle. Another example is like best mattress for back pain. This company, NapLab. So it's not just personal blogs, it's companies too, and media companies and software companies, but the author, the who behind it, and the why they're creating that piece matters. So for example, Derek, who's the founder and editor-in-chief of NapLab, is writing this piece of content. And Derek has put in a lot of work. You can tell it's a real mattress test for back pain, and they have a YouTube video around the same topic that is embedded into that blog post. So it's a very human approach. This is how you're going to beat all that AI slop, and Google is favoring this type of content because of all the AI generated garbage that is coming out and the lack of effort and care that people are putting into content simply as a means to just grow shareholder value. As you can see with this, like tons of writers and testers with their bios, the who behind the article is mattering a lot. So this third trend is about author authority mattering more, from first person lived experiences, having videos, embedding them into your content. This is how you make your content stand out and how you're going to win when it comes to SEO. Which leads us into our fourth trend, which is AEO matures as good SEO. AEO, answer engine optimization. I think that's a term that we've all the marketing community has kind of agreed that is the main term for AI search or SEO for AI search. Some people call it GEO or LLM SEO or AIO or whatever. I think AEO makes a lot of sense. And what I'm seeing here is that good AEO is just good SEO. But good SEO is not that common, which is why you're seeing a lot of information online about how it's different, because it is different if you're not that good at SEO to begin with. And really what I'm seeing here is that the way to win at AEO, and I swear that when I'm saying this, I have clients that I've worked with that I've gotten into ChatGPT, Perplexity, into the AI overviews and their brand mention in just a few months of doing regular SEO. I have NDAs, so I can't exactly say who these clients are, but you just have to believe me on this, that I just focusing on SEO best practices and how I've personally have been approaching SEO has yielded good AEO results. But what does that mean? Because I don't think the way that a lot of people approach SEO is the same way that I have been approaching SEO, although it is something that I've been preaching for many years. And that's to go after every topic in your buyer's journey. I work with software companies, so I can kind of speak to this space the most. And if you look up SaaS content marketing or even SaaS SEO, I have articles that explain more about my reasoning and my thinking behind all of this. But the main goal really is to be everywhere in the searches and to be the most helpful in your niche. So what I mean by this is that, for example, if you go into ChatGPT and you search something like, what are the best AI presentation platforms? LLMs basically do a query fan out. And so that means that they just break the prompt into multiple different keywords. They search those keywords and then they summarize, aggregate all of it together to give the user the best result. So the prompts that people are searching are actually broken. If it triggers a web search, they're broken into keywords that have web searches done on them. So topical authority matters a lot. And what I mean by this is that, for example, with that example of if you do a search for what are the best AI presentation platforms, the query fan out might be something like best presentation platforms 2026, Canva versus what other presentation platform? Gamma. It might be Gamma reviews or Canva for presentations. It'll do a bunch of these little tiny searches related to that main topic. And so the idea is that you want to be where those searches are. You want to create content going after those searches. So an example, if you're a company like Gamma, what you can do is you can create a piece of content around the best AI presentation platforms. But then you can also create a landing page that is Gamma versus Canva, very similar names, but you're comparing yourself to other competitors in the space, because a query fan out might do like a AI presentation comparisons kind of search as well. So you have a chance of pulling into that. You might even go after keywords that maybe you might think are not 100% related to your product, like Canva review. But that actually helps you kind of form the narrative around your brand. You have the opportunity in the way you do your copywriting, of course, of how you can actually mention, if you're Gamma and you write a Canva review, you can write a great review on Canva, and then you can mention where its weak points are and where your product, Gamma, can fill in those gaps. And you can kind of insert yourself into that conversation. And so basically being in the entire user search journey, from problem aware to solution aware to product aware to most aware, all those stages, just go ahead and look at my article on SaaS content marketing. It'll come up. That is how you build that topical authority, and simply doing that to its best abilities, if you do it right, it helps actually get shown in AEO. And that's how I've been able to get my clients mentioned in AEO or in AI search engines. But I don't want to be the person that says there's no difference. I believe that 90% of it is the same if you're doing good SEO, but there is another 10% that I think leans a little bit more, that matters a bit more on the AI search side over the traditional SEO side, say with Google. And where I think AEO, the things that matter more in AEO over SEO is freshness signals. So making sure that your content is up to date, that it's updated, once or twice a year. You don't want to be going on updating content too frequently. I've seen that where it backfires. Actually, if you watch the video that I mentioned earlier, in the video, my previous video before this, I kind of go over updating content kind of with an AI workflow. But freshness signals matter a bit more when it comes to AI search. Other things like more on the technical side, so schema markup and meta descriptions, those matter a bit more when it comes to Google. Google, I've seen, has gotten smarter. The algorithm has gotten smarter and more mature over the years. So it sometimes rewrites meta descriptions, and it's not as important to mention or to define it. Same thing with schema. It's not, a lot of top ranking pages don't have schema, but a lot of top ranking pages also have schema markup. It's just gotten better at not needing those things. Other things that matter a bit more on the AEO side is, site speed and your overall site health, like the technical aspects of how the site loads and how it interacts with the web. You can use tools like Google's Pingdom tools or GT metrics to kind of analyze the technical health of your website and making sure that you get a pretty high score on the way those benchmarks work. But if you also notice, even in these trends, this is still great SEO. This is still SEO best practices. But over time, when it came to traditional SEO, these things just mattered a bit less. But if you still stick with those things, it's going to matter for AEO. It's going to help you out with your AEO. So that's pretty much what I think with this trend, is that good AEO is just good SEO, but good SEO is unfortunately not that common. Which brings us into our last trend that I'm noticing, is that are more AI ads, and it's becoming hard to actually tell the difference between a real human ad or an AI ad. And because we can now create ads with AI, it allows for more creative testing. And so the line between AI ads and real ads is blurring, but because we're able to create ads a lot quicker, we're able to test more creatives, and marketers, especially performance marketers that have that specialization in, say, running meta ads, they can test more creatives. That's really when it comes to ad. I think media buying is slowly a dying art, and really when it comes to being good at running ads is, what is the ad? How creative is it? Or what is the actual creative? Like, do people actually resonate with the ad? Are you able to tell a proper story that really hooks a person in, feels their pain points, makes it resonate with them, and sort of like hypnotizes them with the copy to actually listen to what you have to say and purchase that product with the call to action at the end? And so I'm actually noticing a rise, and this is more specifically in the consumer side. So I'm noticing this with like affiliates or like skincare brands or beauty brands. A lot of these POV shot on iPhone style ads are crushing it, and they look completely real, with people just like holding up their phone and walking around and just like, or showing physical products in this POV style, and it looks completely real. And so you can actually also record these ads and then run an AI layer over it. So if you are in that specialist role where specialists are becoming more like builders, so feeding into the first and second trend, if you're able to build these sort of workflows using tools like Google's VO AI model for videos or Kling AI to generate these videos, and then using 11 Labs to generate the voiceovers, and then using something like Topaz Labs to actually enhance the entire video. Maybe you're using Claude to even write the script. If you have this kind of AI tool stack for video, and you understand how to use these tools, and you understand how to build these workflows and storyboarding and creating a story for these ads and using AI to generate them and not relying on anyone or anything to actually be there on time or actors or anything, it allows you to generate more ads, generate more hooks, do more creative testing. And that's where I think specialists in performance marketing, as they're becoming more product builders and using these tools, they're crushing it. And so those are the 5 trends that I'm seeing. There's obviously lots of trends happening in marketing. I'm specifically talking about in tech and online and internet kind of marketing. This is what I'm seeing. So as a recap, be a specialist or aim to be a specialist and learn to build things. Don't shy away from becoming more technical. If you're working in SEO, be more human. Stop it with the like self-serving content. Really care about your content. And this goes with everything that you do in your work. Care about the person on the other side more than you do about yourself. AEO is just good SEO, but go and understand what good SEO actually looks like so you can do good AEO, and then start experimenting with AI ads or even just these video models. Kling AI is a very popular tool right now. And same thing with using Topaz to do some like really cool enhancements. Just so many incredible tools. And I'm gonna have another video on like my favorite AI tools and how to use them. So stay tuned for that. Like this video if you got anything out of it, and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Much love, peace.